All right, guys, welcome in. Celtics post-game report, final preseason game. The Garden report. Jimmy, Bobby,
Yikes.
Joey.
Tommy, Frankie, Al.
Ricky, Dan, Barry,
like an
Bobby.
Irish family over here from Boston, kid.
Yeah, Ricky, Bobby. So, without hyperbole, and Bobby and I were talking about this prior to the game, I think it's very safe to say there's not one positive thing you could say about tonight.
I guess the only thing is it can only go up from here. There's nothing worse than that.
Looked okay.
Teague in portions of Tatum, I'd say. But yeah.
What portions? Well, I want to get to that in a minute.
We're talking relative to standard.
Sorry. I said I wasn't going to get angry.
He's attacking the rim. I think he only complained once to the referee. That's not bad. Preseason numbers, that's not bad.
All right. This was gross. For multiple reasons. So get everybody's first impressions. First, the shooting is the shooting. Atrocious. Nobody's going to the basket. When they are trying to go to the basket, they can't get there. Just brick after brick after brick. And again, when Tatum and Jaylen aren't knocking, the absence of shooting on this team, and if this team is going to rely on shooting, is the scariest thing by far to me. That if this is who they are, a team that's just going to fire it up there and they can't shoot, oh man, are we in trouble?
Yeah.
We're in big trouble.
Especially when you have open shots. Like, how many times did these guys get open looks, especially Jaylen Brown? It seemed like essentially they were like, let's see if Jaylen can actually shoot at a high level against us. And they sort of gave him that space, right? But then what did he do? He did the good thing. He did the right thing. He attacked the rim early on. But then when they adjusted, when they locked down defensively, the Celtics were beside themselves. I personally thought the Celtics not only lacked the continuity that they needed to produce offense as a whole. I mean, Jayson Tatum had to stay out there with the second unit because it was so bad. But also, I thought they lacked confidence. I mean, the front rimming, I'm sure some people will say, oh, that's just fatigue. But did they even look confident out there? Did Marcus Smart even look that confident? For Marcus Smart, someone heading into, how many years he's been in the league now, and I was a little thrown off a bit by Marcus today, especially offensively. I know he started ice cold, started off really ice cold, but I thought he was trying to, at least put some more effort into it. But it seemed like he was like, you know what, guys, I'm not feeling it tonight. I'm checking out, and I'm just gonna keep playing defense because I got nothing on the offense.
So this was, I guess you could say, my biggest fear for the Celtics, and I think John's probably his biggest fear too, was that the Kemba-less, overcompensating Smart Celtics, and I think that's kind of what you got from the start tonight. It was like Marcus Smart was not shy at all putting up some of those 3-pointers. I think he was 1 for 6. I don't know if he finished 1 for 6, but I think I saw him at one point. And these were some pretty bad misses. And yeah, I mean, when you miss open shots, I'm not really worried about missing open shots. I don't think Brad Stevens is either. I mean, he'll be the first one to say, we got the looks, but they just didn't fall. It happens. But when you start just chucking shots, and it's to the point where, like, nobody on the team is really feeling it. So you don't have enough, like, offensive help right now to, like, get over those shooting slumps. Like we said, if Jayson Tatum isn't giving you 25, 30 a night, and Jaylen Brown's not giving you 20, 25 a night, like, you're screwed. Like, there's just not enough firepower on this team to carry the lulls in the offense throughout the game. So it was pretty troubling to watch from the start. And I'll tell you what, the Brooklyn Nets are real. I've seen enough.
There we go. I tried to tell you guys about this team. They are a monster. 1-15 almost. Like, I even forgot Timothy Cabarrone was on the team, and he was their best player in the bubble last year.
I forgot that's how you actually say his whole name.
he is a phenomenal bench player. Karis LeVert comes off their bench. Jeff Green comes in and yams it on Aaron Naismith.
I gotta say that was the biggest indignity of the entire night. Not only
man,
good. Welcome to the league, young fella.
He kicked him right in the nuts and jammed it right in his face.
Oh man! And then Peyton Pritchard had his rookie moment too. He got caught on Kevin Durant isolation a few times. So everybody just went out there and got their ass kicked tonight. So I look at that and say, you can't go any lower than what it looked like out there. But as Jimmy said, that Nets team, suddenly you start thinking of them as serious contenders because Kevin Durant goes out there and does what he did in that third quarter, 11 points, the efficiency on 4 of 7, just tearing through the defense. At one point, he scored through 5 bench Celtics. That team is something to behold from how they look right now. Injuries, other things could affect them throughout the year. We all talked about chemistry concerns there. There could be a trade, but as they look right now, that team is incredible. And you have to be concerned about the Celtics too. Like, preseason doesn't mean everything, but it means something.
So that's the thing. See, here's where you're going to get into the debate. People like us or other places might overreact some to what you've seen. And the defense here is going to be, okay, it's just the preseason. It doesn't mean anything. That's true. But what can also be true is nothing was good about anything that you saw tonight. And it was on its own a dog shit performance and deserves to be talked about as such. Doesn't mean it's not going to be, but the lack of effort, the terrible shooting, the horrible defense, and then not even to get into the individual play for people who you want to see take a leap. You just don't want to see Jaylen Brown having guys just walk by him, on defense. I don't like seeing Jayson Tatum not able to turn the corner on anybody when he's trying to get to the basket, okay? I know he's a little bigger, but the defender's in front of him almost always. He is able to get his shot off a little bit better, but he's not getting around the corner on anybody. Shots are going to fall. That doesn't even bother me that much. Just nothing looks impressive at all. And then when you see the second unit, that's the actual second unit. This is not an illusion, Who
was Brad? I mean, I know what he was.
This is not just the preseason. This is actually it. That's your second. Right. And again, I know you're going to have Tristan Thompson and eventually Kemba comes back, but that's it. That's it. That's the
troubling thing. Yeah. And when you look at the Nets, when you look at the Nets, LeVert coming off the bench, Shamet coming off the bench, Allen, who, he's probably your starting center on the Celtics. He's coming off the bench. These are good guys that add depth to the Nets. And when you look at the Celtics, like I said, they just don't seem to have the depth. Nobody's carrying the load. When Marcus Smart gets into his shooting, eyes on the prize, shooting all the time, that seems to slow everybody else down. I didn't think anyone stepped up tonight. Like Josue said, Tatum showed some signs. He was driving to the hoop, looking aggressive at points. Looks like he's put on a little bit of muscle there in the short off season. So I like what I see out of him. I'm not concerned about Tatum, obviously, but do the Celtics have enough to be a top tier team in the East? Now they have to contend with the Bucks. Looks like they're going to have to contend with the Nets. Are they at that level? And it's only been 2 preseason games. Obviously, you can't base it all on that. But when you're going down, just look roster by roster, you have to wonder if this is just, it actually is indicative of how the season's going to go to an extent.
Well, that's the thing. That's the worry. That's the worrisome thing. And again, we're joking about it a little, but one of the things we talked about prior to the game was, Bobby's like, "Whoa, this team looks really good." I'm like, well, every team looks really. I'm afraid we're going to say that a lot.
Yeah, I think we all knew the Brooklyn Nets where they stand, in comparison to the Celtics right now. We know the Milwaukee Bucks are up there too. Like, these teams are cut above the rest, but the Celtics aren't in that group. That's the thing.
They should be. They should be, Josue.
Yeah, but should they? Did they really address missing Gordon Hayward or losing him? I should say. Did they really address Kemba Walker?
That's the thing.
Kemba Walker's on his way back, but moving forward, what's going to happen without Kemba Walker? You have to figure this thing out. And to John's point about Jayson Tatum, Brad Stevens has to find a way to get him going in the first quarter, because I'm telling you right now, this will be a pattern throughout the season that's going to drive us crazy. And this is what is going to happen. They're going to get down by 15 points, 13, 12, 15 points in the first half, and they're going to try to crawl out of that hole, and they just do not have the second unit to pull it off. They don't. The second unit can stop the bleeding at certain points. I think that defensively, they're strong enough to do that for the starters, but they're not going to put up points in a hurry. Jeff Teague is the only one that can put the ball on the floor. And put it this way, when Jeff Teague was doing that tonight, everyone stood there and looked at him because they know they could never do that.
Good.
They could never do what Jeff Teague did tonight. That's why you saw Jayson Tatum in that second unit, and that's why guys like him and Jaylen Brown are going to have to play closer to 40 minutes. But if they're not going, if you don't see their offense picking up in that first half, the Celtics are in trouble. This is a pattern that we'll continue to see, at least in the first month of the season.